Welcome to the Meat Dudes. We're meat obsessed, Wagyu focused, source driven, and barbecue influenced. I'm Evan, and today I'm really excited. We are joined by Steve Cottrell of legendary Akaushi. How are you doing, Steve? Did I say that right, Akaushi?
You did. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And it's a privilege to be here. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Me too. So we learn a lot. I mean, we are doing a lot with Wagyu beef. We talk a lot about Wagyu, a lot about meat, of course. And most of the Wagyu education that we've been doing over the last year, two years, has really been about the Japanese black. And there are four different types of Japanese cows, right? There's the Japanese black, there's the red, the Akaushi, the polled, and the shorthorn. Now, you are very much into the Akaushi, and I was asking you all these questions about the black and everything. You're like, you know what? This is what I do. So I really wanted to talk to you about this, about the Akaushi, and get some more information to our beloved listeners, our fans, and really teach them about maybe some of the differences between the black and the red. Now, let's kick it off with a little bit of your story with legendary Akaushi, man. How did legendary Akaushi come to be, and how did you get into Wagyu?
So we're actually the fourth stewards of legendary, and I say stewards because we're super fortunate to have acquired the best collection of the original 13 animals that came over from Japan. So we actually we call them the foundational animals. And
when was that?
Gosh, it's probably back in the early 90s.
Okay.
Okay. 1990, when it finally got released. There was actually a trade dispute that lasted for 2 years before the Japanese would actually allow the animals to be released.
Okay.
And that's a story in of itself. But, Japanese were very, very, very proud, and rightfully so, of Akaushi, and they didn't want to release that outside of the islands. They wanted that. That was part of their heritage, and honestly, they didn't want to let go of it.
Yeah. So Akaushi, the Japanese red cow, right? So Wagyu means Japanese cow. That's what it translates to.
Right.
And when we've been talking about Wagyu, like I said, we talk mostly about the Japanese black because that's what's over here. What is it, like 95% of the Wagyu over here is Japanese black? That's a guess. Something about that, right? So Akaushi is the red. Now, what are maybe some of the differences that you see between the red and the black? Like why is it different? Why should people go out and search for Akaushi versus the Japanese black?
Well, there's primarily two reasons from the consumer standpoint that are forefront, and then a third. Okay. Which I really like to get people thinking about. So the first is the taste. Okay. The taste profile on an Akaushi is significantly different than a black Wagyu. The marbling is more interlaced in the muscular tissue, and it's also more in balance. Okay. Black Wagyu tends to have a very, very high fat content, and the ratio of fat to lean is higher.
Okay.
And then we get into the health benefits because the fat profile of the Akaushi is different than the fat profile of the black. Akaushi is actually much higher in monounsaturated fats, which produce the good cholesterol.
Yes, the good stuff.
Yep. As opposed to the artery clogging other stuff. And then it's been said that the profile of the fat, because it's very, very high in monounsaturates, is similar to salmon. So, there's a big health craze about eat more fish.
Yeah.
Not eat fish, just eat Akaushi. Okay.
That's true with all Wagyu. Am I correct? Like that is true with all Wagyu, the high in monounsaturated, the good CLAs. Yeah, Akaushi is even higher. Okay.
And it's got a different fat to lean profile than the blacks. Okay.
Yep.
And then the other thing is the taste. It's a much more smoother, buttery, kind of rich taste that I find very, very favorable.
Wow.
The other thing, the blacks have been in the United States for quite a while, and they've been commercialized. So the herd is much more I guess the black breeders would say diverse. Okay,
Okay.
there's a lot more genetic combinations than there is with the Akaushi because of the limited amount of Akaushi animals. I actually think that that's a positive for Akaushi, for breeders, that turns into a positive for consumers because they can really focus on the characteristics that they're trying to get in their taste profile and in fat content, and actually through breeding affect those profiles. Whereas with the blacks, it's very difficult because there's so much diversity in that genetic material. It's hard for them to figure out if I change this bull or this dam, and what's it
Yeah.
actually going to do in the end. We're really working with a group of foundational animals that's limited to 13. Okay, we can tie it back to those original genetics, whereas with the blacks, there's thousands, if
And
not.
would there be, even with the like full blood black though, like that would be full 100% genetics coming from Japan, correct? So
Yeah, but there's so much of it, okay, and so many animals here in the United States. There's less than 20,000,
mhm.
okay, red Akaushi,
Okay.
or reds as they're referred to,
Yeah.
and there's less combinations. Okay,
What do
there's
you mean
not.
by that? What do you mean like less combinations?
So a combination would be a particular bull with a particular
Hmm.
female,
Hmm.
and then also as you go down line, there's the sons, the daughters, the grandsons, granddaughters, great
Yep.
grandsons, great granddaughters, great great great.
Yeah.
Introduce different animals in each one of those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, it creates different diversity in that genetic profile.
Okay.
And the reds are um, uh, more stable. There's
Hmm.
less diversity in that line. It's pure to um, the original that came over from Japan, and what the Japanese had in mind when they engineered this experiment, over 100 years ago.
In the 90s, they also sent over about 200 animals,
Right.
200 Japanese blacks. Is there are the reds included in that? Do you know, or is it a separate thing?
No, it's actually a separate thing.
Okay.
And then what happened there was a group of animal scientists and investors went over and purchased animals, but the Japanese government wouldn't actually let them be exported. They
Yeah.
purchased 12 animals, okay, and the Japanese government didn't want those animals to leave because of the heritage and the historic value
Hmm.
and the cultural value of those animals. So it
Yeah.
ended up being a trade dispute for almost 2 years, and it
Hmm.
finally got down to the highest levels of government on both sides. And the U.S. basically said, there's a lot of Hondas and Toyotas running around here. And, do you really want to die on this hill over 12 cows?
Yeah.
Uh,
Might as well.
they prevailed. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Right. I mean, yeah.
And those animals, which started out as 12, had become 13. Go figure.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, there were 13 animals that were brought across.
It actually came over. Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually what the legendary herd is.
Hmm.
13 animals and subsequent offspring. And when we say that we're fortunate to be the stewards of that, we feel that that's a privilege and an
Yeah.
honor, and
Yeah.
something that we really want to take care of. So we're really big in the lineage
Hmm.
and the scientific value and the breeding value of being able to tell
Yeah.
what a particular combination actually performs. Is how does it perform in carcass traits, how does it taste,
Yeah.
and how does it do.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, the Japanese black as well. There's a lot of data and
Well,
what you
there's a
just
wealth of data.
the
There's a
same. Yeah, yeah. Because I don't want people to think that like, oh, this is like like we don't like the black, we like the red, but like
I
all
do.
in all, like they're just very. I know you do. I like it all, but like they are different, and I think it's interesting to see the difference because a lot of people, if you ask the somebody who kind of knows a little bit about Wagyu, they would say that probably the Japanese black marbles better, and the Japanese red has it's got better it grows. I don't say it grows better, but it has better meat and maybe even a better flavor of the meat. So like that's kind of like
I
the
think you can really break
stereotypical.
it down.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a black wagyu steak, okay,
Mm-hmm.
about the lacy appearance.
Mm-hmm.
those that have looked at them online and so forth, I mean, it really looks like lace with all the marbling,
Yeah.
the content. With the red, it's similar,
Mm-hmm.
but the amount of lean meat to fat,
Yeah.
okay, is a greater ratio, okay, and that intermuscular marbling is still there, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it affects the flavor profile different. Um, if you've eaten, an A5 black steak, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to sit down and eat an entire ribeye.
Oh,
Okay.
no way. Yeah.
Okay.
You die.
It's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um, the reds are, I mean, I can't eat an entire red steak,
Yeah.
but it's different. It's more on a palatable side. Many people find it to be not quite as intense, as far as, that fat feeling. Okay.
And is there? I mean, does the Akaushi rate at an A5 level as well? Is there A5 Akaushi, or is it like there's not? It doesn't really get there because it doesn't marble quite like the black. Would you say that?
I
Or
don't know that the A scale has been applied, okay, significantly. I mean, the amount of carcass data that's available on the reds is
mm-hmm.
fairly limited compared to what you've got with the
Yeah.
blacks. And it's something that we're absolutely trying to change.
Yeah.
Have there been A5 reds? Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. But, is there, can you go out and order an A5 red steak? No.
No.
Okay. We just don't have the supply is not
Mm-hmm.
there to support, that type of, and the marketing hasn't been applied to it either.
Yeah. But
It's not
even
well, um, what try to say it's not as developed as the black market is.
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And why do you think that is? Because when we say Wagyu, so many people. I mean, when you look it up online, it's basically like all Japanese black, and they don't talk a lot about the Akaushi. I mean, I just heard about it, about maybe a year ago, and I was like, I mean, I've read about it, but I hadn't heard people talking about it till about a year ago. Why do you think that is right now? I feel like it's starting to become more of a. It's starting to get out there a little bit more, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's because of the number of animals. It's the
Mm-hmm.
size,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
comparatively. One of the challenges when you're starting to get into a retail marketplace is that you have to be able to supply the demand that a particular um, reseller or outlet has.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking about black Wagyu, they've got national contracts with big outlets, okay, that
Mm-hmm.
demand, thousands of carcasses,
Yeah.
a month, okay, to supply the market. And if you cannot supply that market, with enough carcasses, they're not going to take on your product.
Mm-hmm.
So the distribution for the black is well established because they have the numbers, where the
Yeah.
distribution for the red is more curated,
Yeah.
okay, and
Okay.
more localized. It's much more in the farm to fork, and local markets. You can't, Heart Brand did some work with some of the national chains, but they were actually selling F1s, okay, which are not full bloods. They're
Yeah.
crossed with Angus,
Yeah.
and that's that was the big commercial introduction of Akaushi, as far as that goes. But the numbers have to come up in order to
Yeah.
get Akaushi full bloods, in the marketplace, in your supermarket.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we talk to a lot of ranchers. I've been talking to the Akaushi ranchers and Japanese black ranchers, and a lot of them, a lot of the small ones, the ones that we like to work with are that farm to fork. They're not, there are the big ones, of course, that are just, that are pushing the stuff out there. And we like to talk to, the smaller guys that actually, really, not to say that the big guys don't care about the breed, but I think put a little more quality and care into it, because it's a quality product. And so,
Let me, let me get back to one of the questions you asked about. What are
oh
the
yeah.
benefits to consumers? And I said there were three things, and that really
Oh.
dovetails into this question that you just posed. So the first one was taste, and then the fat profile and the health benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Third one really is the quality of the overall product. Okay,
Uh-huh.
we say everybody accepts the fact that you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
and our animals are what they eat. So consequently, if we eat them, we
Yeah.
are what they eat as well. Okay.
Yes.
We get into a lot of these big commercial operations and commercial producers, they're more concerned about quantity.
Yep. So,
Okay. And operating costs
yep.
and yield. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas, the farm to fork guy is, I want to produce the best possible food that I can and put it on my customer's table.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to give them, hopefully, the best quality feed, the right proportions. I'm going to take care of my animals. I'm going to give them range to roam and grow. Okay. Those two CAFO, type feeding operations. It may not be the most cost effective way to do it, but it produces the best possible product and
Yeah.
also ethically. So the third advantage to the consumer is really starting to support those smaller regional operations that are more focused on partnering with the consumer to give the consumer the best possible product, okay, and to create um, what am I trying to say? Kind of a full circle process. I mean,
Yeah.
consumers buy, but producers have to be able to survive as well. It's a
Oh, yeah.
symbiotic relationship. And if
Absolutely.
consumers start doing business and choose to do business with people that raise animals ethically and
Hmm.
feed them right because they want that for their family and for their bodies,
Yeah.
start producing more revenue for the smaller farmer, and
Yeah.
we move the needle away from the big operators that
Yeah.
have a separate set of priorities.
Yes. No, absolutely. And I like I said, I think that's true. That's why we love Wagyu in general, because it is harder to raise. It takes longer. It's more expensive, and you can't rush it. And that's why we like to talk to people like you and people all over the U.S. that raise this, because it's you can't cut the corners, and there's so many people are saying the same thing that you're saying, that we got to go to the farmer, and like, let's go farm to consumer, because that really just supports the entire operation. That really helps the Wagyu farmer that is trying to make a great product for the plate, and it bypasses the large, the big meat corporations that are
Yeah,
just
it's an
kind of,
ecosystem. I mean,
yeah,
it's an
absolutely.
ecosystem and a set of economics that is to its own. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm super stoked about that. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that we got into it, was because there is a
Mhm.
significant difference for the producer with Akaushi than there is with commercial cattle,
Oh,
like
for
in
sure.
Shirley in the US.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you told me a story about the emperor's breed. Why is Akaushi called the emperor's breed?
Well, so Akaushi was actually reserved,
Mm.
okay, for
Mhm.
the emperor and the emperor's family and
Yeah.
members of the samurai clan.
Okay.
Okay, it wasn't released to the population at large. It was
Really?
actually reserved
Mm.
before it got to be called the emperor's breed. Okay,
Yeah.
um, it was exclusive.
Yeah.
That there was probably a reason for that, but that's why it got the name the emperor's breed.
Yeah. It was just for the emperor.
Emperor and emperor's family and members of the samurai clan that protected the emperor and the emperor's family.
Yeah.
I mean, in England, you had the beef eaters, right?
Yeah.
Not to compare Wagyu to the beef eaters beef of old, but the same concept. The best went to those that were part of the royal family or protected
Yeah.
with the emperor's.
So, like, from a rancher's perspective, what does the Akushi cattle bring to the table that maybe gets overlooked by the broader Wagyu conversation?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. First of all, the life expectancy of these animals
Hmm.
is 2x what a commercial cow is here in the United States.
Yeah.
So we actually, in our herd, we have an animal that's 22 years old that gave birth at 20, okay, which is like unheard of.
He birthed at 20?
Yeah,
What?
we've got animals that are producing embryos that are 18, 19 years old.
Really?
Which is again unheard of.
Yeah.
So the longer that an animal lives, if you're using it to, grow your herd
Hmm.
and not harvesting it, 2x is 2x.
Yeah.
Also, the hardiness of the animal. When I first bought this herd, it was living in Texas. Okay. And
Okay.
that summer was over 120 degrees some days. I brought it
Yeah.
to Wisconsin. Okay. And within probably 60 days of them arriving from, 120-degree heat, they
Yeah.
were at -0 temperatures. I had no loss that year. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, these animals just kept on trucking, you know, like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
Uh, this is different, but they were fine. Okay.
Really?
Probably
That's.
free. Okay.
Hmm.
They also, the bulls are incredibly fertile.
Hmm.
We can cover a lot more females with a single bull than you can with a commercial cow.
Wow. That's funny because there's so many rumors out there that Wagyu are infertile. That they're an infertile breed. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're kind of dedicated to.
Hmm.
I came from a technology background and we're data driven. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I really want to start putting some data metrics on this breed.
Yeah.
Okay. For consumers and for producers so they can actually see how long does it take, to finish an Akaushi compared to a commercial cow.
Yeah.
Really doesn't have to be any different. Okay. It depends on what you feed them
No.
and how you feed them.
Yeah.
Right? But we need to prove that. Okay.
Ooh.
We need to do the study and create the contemporary groups and actually prove it. Okay. How fertile is an Akaushi bull? Okay.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of urban legends out there and all kinds of stories, but nobody's ever, sat down and said, hey, I'm going to expose, this bull to 75 females exclusively and see how many they impregnate. Okay. And, it hasn't been done. We're going to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
We're in a position to do that. And I think that that's something, we can do for the breed and do for the community at large that
Hmm.
I think is going to be very, very valuable. Then also, which animals marble better, which animals score better,
Yeah.
weight, how they convert on feed and water. Um, so then the most important thing, from the rancher standpoint is the carcass score. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
Akaushi are scoring, typically over 80% of them are scoring prime or prime plus.
Okay.
Whereas cow right now, the latest I saw was 11%.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you take Akaushi bull and put it on a commercial cow to produce an F1,
Yep.
okay, 50-50,
Hmm.
raise the carcass score on that animal on average of 15%.
Really.
These are, I throw out all these numbers, okay, but what I can't do is I can't put a scientific study in front of you to prove that. But
Yes.
that's what we're doing in
Yeah.
Legendary. We're
Okay.
actually taking the time. We took 200 animals this year and started a study with different semen to just see, what is the carcass score on each individual bull and their offspring.
Wow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we can actually map that out and have
Hmm.
proof, that this particular bull does better than this particular bull, and this
Yeah.
particular bull average calf weight is this. This particular bull average calf weight is this. And
Yeah.
this is the kind of information that modern producers really need to tune their herd
Hmm.
and tune their profits. And that's what
Yeah.
we're excited about producing um, for the.
I like that. And I, I guess educate me. I don't know this, but with the American Wagyu Association, is that primarily Japanese black, or does that cover all the Wagyu?
So American Wagyu Association is all Wagyu.
Yes.
There
Okay.
is the American Akaushi Association,
Okay.
which you know we're obviously members of that association.
Yep.
American Wagyu, um, association has its own clientele and its own set of standards and so forth, but they don't separate blacks from reds, and they haven't really put the back work in. Okay, to prove out the things that we're trying to accomplish. And I think that the Akaushi Association is a little bit more dedicated to verifiable and
Akaushi.
yeah, and also Akaushi.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, because I mean, with the American Wagyu Association, they have that data for a lot of the. I guess we've seen that data for probably mostly just the black Wagyu.
Correct.
But I guess I haven't heard, I haven't asked, I guess, too, about the Akaushi, and if they had those first 13 animals traceable when they came over. Did they have that information?
They have some of it.
Okay.
Okay. The producers that have been focusing on the Akaushi traditionally have not been working with the American Wagyu Association as much as they have the American Akaushi Association.
Yeah, I guess
American Wagyu does have some information, but it is not as well populated as the American Akaushi Association.
Akaushi. Yeah.
And the American Akaushi Association just created a partnership with the Australian Wagyu Association.
Okay.
And when those two books come together, those two sets of data come together, there's going to be a lot more information available. And that is going to be an incredibly valuable, incredible, book of information and business that, producers are going to be able to rely on. On the commercial side of this, I mean, what does this mean to your consumer? I think what it really means is that the producers that really care, okay, and the ones that as a consumer I want to do business with, okay, are getting the best information that they possibly can to make the decisions that they can to affect their herd positively, to provide their consumers with the best possible product.
Yeah.
With a lot of the commercial associations like the American Angus Association and other folks like that, have a marketing side to them, okay, as well, as does American Wagyu, but they're more focused on promoting, promotion than they are. And this is just my opinion. They're more focused on promotion than they are necessarily providing contemporaneous data that breeders can really work with.
Really? Okay. I mean, I've seen a lot of the data. I'll push back on that. We work with them, and and we see a lot of the data from coming all the way back to the original animals that came over here from Japan, most specifically black.
They certainly have it, but it seems like the current focus is more on marketing the end product and marketing the association than it is building that data set. And that's coming from a data dude. Okay, I'm never satisfied with the data. You can always do more. Okay?
I'll leave that to you. Yeah,
that's why I like American Akaushi Association. Why I like the Australian Akaushi Association, because they're very, very focused on the data.
So, some people would say, that Akaushi maybe is more versatile in cooking. Have you, when you're cooking Akaushi, how does that differ? Can you tell that there's a difference when you actually cook it? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the fat content profile of it, it is a different cooking style. Okay.
Yeah.
My preference is sous vide. Okay.
Yeah, you had sous vide.
Yeah, totally. I had some folks up to visit the ranch just before this podcast, and I grilled a ribeye and a strip for them, open on a grill. And it's different in lower and slower typically is better. Okay. Yep. In my mind, and it really stands out with Akaushi.
Really?
And that's why I love sous vide.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. We just did something on sous vide, and we were not bashing it, but we were like, it makes it easy, man. It makes it a lot easier.
I gotta tell you, man, for a guy like me, it's a freaking godsend.
Well, yeah, and you did something real crazy too, didn't you? Do some briskets, sous vide some briskets.
I did.
What the heck's going on with that? How long did that take?
I did a brisket for 36 hours.
36? Would you do it like a swimming pool or something? Like seriously, what did you use to get that thing in there?
I cheated. I cut it in half. I took the corner, I took the flat.
Yeah.
In separate bags, and I had a big ass pot, and I had conversion cookers.
Really?
I did it at 135 degrees.
Yeah.
36 hours, I think it was.
Wow, dude.
And then the when it came out, when protein comes out of sous vide, it doesn't necessarily look the best. Okay,
Yeah, it looks terrible.
finishing it is really important. I got
How
my
did you finish it?
grill super hot.
Yeah.
I just let it get to top temp, and then I threw that thing on there, and it was like I had a 4th of July fireworks show, flames everywhere.
Dude.
I wish I could pull the picture up and show you on my screen. You'd call the fire department, right? In a matter of a couple minutes, I pulled
Weird.
it off, and it looked like it had been in a smoker for days. It had
Yeah.
beautiful crust, and then when you cut it open, oh my god, that is insane, and was cooked to a medium perfection.
Really.
It was unbelievable. This is the thing about Akaushi, and honestly, I don't have the experience with the blacks, but I
Mhm.
mean, I did a chuck roast,
Yeah.
for my family 2 nights ago. Same way. I mean, a chuck roast. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember mom buying chuck roast because she was
Mhm.
raising 4 boys, and that's all we could afford. And you got through it, right?
Yeah, you got through it.
Yeah, we were boys and we were hungry, and
Yeah.
there was some gravy and potatoes to go with it, right? Tell you what, man, this chuck roast was better than most meals I've had in restaurants. Given the Pacific Northwest, I'd have to give it up to you guys. I'm sure that aren't, but
Oh yeah, we do some good stuff up here.
yeah, no, I mean seriously,
Yeah.
roast. Um, what was the other thing? Skirt steaks. My God, you want to make some tacos?
Yeah,
Get the
dude.
hell out.
We love the skirts. Oh man.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
and I'm a taco fanatic.
Yeah.
I'll taco anything.
I
I
love
like
it.
to is either leftover ribeye strip or whatever, or
Yep.
if I got a bunch of people coming over, we'll do the skirts. Oh my God,
Oh
come
yeah.
come
And
on.
that's great. I mean, we always talk about the Wagyu skirts being, you can go to your butcher shop and get that for a great price. I mean, they're not that expensive, and I think that's one of the misconceptions that people always think about is, hey, when I buy Wagyu, I got to go to some fancy place and spend $100. No, I mean, you could buy a skirt steak for $25. That will feed 2-3 people, and it's going to be the best skirt steak you've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, come to certain websites that I don't want to plug, okay, but you can get roast for $12 to $15. It'll feed your family, okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and then ground beef is another thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different, situation, and we've had to adjust some of our recipes a little bit.
Yeah.
You start doing, pasta dishes
Hmm.
like that. You can utilize the fat in the meat, and maybe heaven forbid cut back a little bit on the cheese, but
No, we don't do that here.
yeah.
Well,
Uh, so there's definitely a different experience cooking. It's not hard, okay. It's fun,
yeah,
okay, and it's
exactly.
it's fun to do something different and experience something different. I mean, I've been grilling, for probably 40 years now, and
Yeah.
still learning, and this is just something new to figure out. But I'm loving it, and everybody that we serve it to, they always say, "When are you grilling again?"
Right?
Yeah.
No, I know. Once you try it, man, it's it for us 80 Wagyu, man. Once people come into the butcher shop and they look at it and they get a little nervous, and then we're like, just take it, try it. It's not even that expensive, and they always come back and they're just like, dude, this is some of the best meat I've ever had. Because most people are used to just going to the grocery store and buying, a steak that looks okay and for $20-$30 and taking it home and cooking it, and that's their steak. But if you want to go to the grocery store and buy a $30 ribeye, you can, but you could go maybe to a unique butcher shop and buy a $25 Wagyu skirt steak, and it's going to be 1,000 times better than that grocery
Or you
store
can
ribeye.
buy or a strip, or a New York strip too. I mean, honestly, I don't think there is anybody that has ever tasted it that hasn't bought it.
Yeah,
Okay.
really.
This Sunday, I've got a chef and all the sous chefs coming up from a big name restaurant,
Yeah.
here where we are. They were at the farmer's market, and we had a George Foreman grill.
Oh yeah,
right? And we
love
were
a
like
classic.
whacking up some ribeyes and just putting a little salt and pepper on them right in front of people.
Yeah,
Okay, here's the product, a little salt and pepper, throw it on the grill for a couple minutes, stick a toothpick in it. I mean, the sous chef that saw us doing, he said, "All right, I'll try it." He tried it. He went and grabbed the executive chef, brought him back. You got to see this, and they're
yeah,
coming up and tasting. And I mean, this was in a week and a half.
yeah.
I don't know if they're going to put it in their restaurant. Maybe they're just coming up for a free lunch or something. But right,
But they love it, right? And have they tried Wagyu before? Or is that one of their first experiences with Wagyu?
on now, but they had never tried Akaushi.
Yeah. So,
So yeah,
wow.
maybe we need to get them on a separate podcast and they can do black versus reds. And
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to do that. We should get somebody. We'll get like Arlie from Bar R, or somebody that does the white, the black, and then somebody that loves the red. We could
yeah,
do like a big conversation because like we're about promoting Wagyu in general, and we love all Wagyu. That's like so important to stay.
we can call it Wagyu roulette. Does it land on red? Or,
Ooh, Wagyu roulette. That's badass. We should do something with that.
right?
So personally, I've never tried the red, and I know,
No.
yeah. And so
Oh, come on.
I'm talking with
The address.
Ken. I'm talking with Ken of Angie's Acres in
Yeah.
Minnesota, and he's sending me some. We're
That
talking to him
dude
in a
can
couple
beef
weeks.
like nobody's business.
Huh?
Okay? That
Say
guy
what?
can beef like nobody's
I,
business.
I hear everybody loves that guy.
Oh my god,
Everybody loves that guy. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's a freaking magician.
That's what I hear, and I'm excited to chat with him too to learn more. But yeah, I'm totally interested in trying it out. And so with all Wagyu, right? You have your full blood, you have your purebred, you have your F1 cross, right? And that's the same thing with the red, right? Like is there F1 cross out there that is red, or is it mostly full blood, or what do you
You know,
think about that?
and because it's definitely F1. The biggest influence is the F1, just because we can produce so many more of them, and
Yeah,
the full bloods, people are kind of holding on to those and growing their herds, right?
totally.
About
Yeah,
what we're getting called. We and slaughter. We purposefully are calling harder and slaughtering more animals so we can get carcass data and get the product out there, so people can actually experience it. But
and you said you're harvesting them the same time as some commercial beef. Like when I think commercial beef, I'm like 14 months ish, 16 months. When you harvesting some of that red?
18 months.
18.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's
for
like some of the earliest.
the producers that are listening, we're seeing hanging weights between 1,100 consumers too that buy that buy beef on the hook. We're seeing carcasses 1,100 to 1,400 pound hanging weights in 18 months. Now, if
Really?
you ever get Ken on a podcast, he'll tell you how to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
call him the magician. So
So is it about the feed? We always have this discussion. It's about we always
yeah,
think it's genetics
I
is the baseline, right?
I think that there's more to it. And so
Yeah.
what we do is our mama cows, they get as much pasture and as much space, okay, as we can possibly afford to give them. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's a okay. They get a lot of square footage per animal, or a lot of acres per animal. Okay. And then with the calves, we're very careful about what we feed the mamas, until those calves are weaned. Make sure that
Yeah.
they get everything that they need through that milk. And then with the calves, we do the exact same thing. We give them the right diet, and we give them lots of room to run, play, and grow. And what happens is these animals don't turn into butterballs, okay? Because a lot of times when people are feeding animals, they turn into little, marshmallow butterballs. And, these guys get longer and they get, bigger, and they're a little leaner. And you let them go like that, for maybe a year, okay?
Huh?
And then you take that animal and put them on a finishing ration and put the poundage on. One,
Yeah.
they finish faster, they'll finish better, they'll marble better, and you get a higher yield. So there's a science to that.
Yeah.
And, Ken and I have had lots of conversations about this. He
Yeah.
took a look at our weanlings and our yearlings, and he said, "You're doing something different, okay, than the animals the other animals, and he has decided that he wants to finish our animals for us, thankfully.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. What about being docile, right? Like that's a major thing with the Wagyu. They're very docile, correct? Is it the same with the
Sure.
red?
For sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, it's how you treat them. So
Yeah.
we see
Yeah.
the same thing with Angus, with our recips that we put embryos in. So we buy, um, you know, getting off track here a little bit, but our recips come out of Colorado and Wyoming, and we buy them in herds of 100, 150.
Hmm.
They're raised by cowboys on horseback. We don't have UTVs running around.
Yeah.
Okay, they're quiet.
Yeah.
So the Akaushi are the exact same way.
Yeah.
As soon as these animals are born, and we give them lots of space, we introduce them to people right away. So
Yeah.
uh, my foreman's wife and his two daughters are walking through that herd every day. They're walking through a couple pastures with pails of cow candy, molasses treats, and
Yeah.
know everybody. And that's the secret: just building a relationship and not being crazy around them. And they're
Yeah.
incredibly docile. The one thing I will say about Akushi is they're incredibly athletic.
Really?
Okay. Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
your fitness have to be high and strong because they are athletes.
Really?
We first got them and didn't necessarily know what we were doing. We had a couple of roundup rodeos, because we had standard fences, and the girls just decided, nah, we're not sticking around here. We want to go over there.
Oh,
And then we
really?
stopped them. Yeah. So we're a little higher and a little stronger, but
Wow.
that's not because they're not docile. They're just athletic and curious.
Just that's funny, dude. Yeah, you don't hear that very much. That's crazy. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Oh man. And so we kind of got into some of the health benefits of Wagyu in general. Um,
Yeah, the monounsaturated fatty acids and then the
yeah,
omega.
that's always
That's
important to cover.
that's really what provides that huge health benefit to the consumers.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
so
some,
different. It's so different than what's being produced, by the big feed processors. The big,
totally different. Yes, I know. I know. My mother always tells me to go on the Mediterranean diet and eat more fish, and I'm like, it's okay, mom. I'm eating a lot of Wagyu. We're fine. We're healthy over here. We're health nuts. So I got to ask you this question: where do you think, where do you see Akushi fitting into the Wagyu landscape in the next 5 years?
I really think that the important thing for us to do is to create the irrefutable scientific data that we can
Mhm.
show the producers to prove to them that this is a more profitable breed, because the end product is already proven. Okay,
Mhm.
the consumers, once they taste it, they want it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what we've got to do is we've got to get the producers saying, well, how can I produce this effectively and efficiently, cost effectively, to switch from an Angus operation, to an F1 operation. And
Yes.
we need to have the data to show them to do that.
Yeah.
I think within the next 2 years, we will have that data. And in 5 years, you will see a massive shift. I really believe this. When I tell the story about why Akaushi to people, I remember as a very, very young guy, and this was many, many years ago, a toothless woman on television going, "Where's the beef? Hey,
Right.
100% certified beef." Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wendy's commercial for young, podcasters out there. Well,
Yeah.
I had never heard of Angus before.
Mm.
Okay, and after that commercial came out, maybe this is just me, but after that commercial came out, within a couple of years, everything was Angus certified. I mean, if you
Yeah.
went to the grocery store and you didn't buy Angus certified, okay, you know, you were doing your family a disservice.
Exactly right.
I honestly believe that Akaushi is the next Angus. Okay,
Yeah. Really.
I think that because it's great for the consumer, it's
Hmm.
great for the producer. The producer can, put in the same inputs, the same amount of work, and get a better yield, a better
Hmm.
dollar return, and provide a better product, better quality product,
Yeah.
to consumers. So, we talk about that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Once we get everybody hitting on all cylinders, consumers wanting it, loving it, understanding why they should eat it,
Yeah.
producers loving it, wanting it, understanding why they should move to it, it
Yeah.
is going to explode. Maybe not in my lifetime, probably not in the next 5 years, but I think that Akushi is going to, take over the U.S. market
Wow.
go-to beef.
That's yeah.
The first, right here on the meat.
You know, we're calling it. No, that's cool. No, that's interesting, and I mean, for us, like I said, Wagyu in general, if people are eating Wagyu, man, we're happy, and man, so if you had to like, I don't want to, I'm trying not to pit them back and forth because I think like when we talked about to our grass fed buddy down in Olympia, that River Valley Wagyu, he was like, I have grass fed Wagyu, and it's for a different consumer. Like it could be for a different day of the week. It's for a different consumer. And so, do you think that there's the Japanese black and the Japanese red? Do you think that there maybe are just different consumers out there that maybe somebody's going to like the Japanese black more, someone's going to like the Japanese red more? Do you think that's the case? I know you're very much on the red, but
Yeah,
in
I think
general,
it's kind of like, do you like chocolate or vanilla?
yeah,
Okay. I
that's
don't
great.
know that it's that distinct,
Uh-huh.
but it's certainly distinct enough, at least from, my palate. It's
Wow.
very distinct. And I think that there's lots of people that are going to just absolutely, love black. And I think that
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that are absolutely going to love red. I think that the consumers haven't been exposed to red. And I think once they do,
Yeah.
okay, there's going to be a tectonic shift in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Wow.
no, I think that they are different. I think it'll be, consumer driven.
That's cool. I mean, I hope like I say, in general, I hope more people just are exposed to more Wagyu because it is a better product. And I personally, I can't wait to try some of this Akaushi. Like I want to see if I can sit them side by side and really be able to taste the difference, and
There's no question. I
that's,
mean, if you can't taste the difference, you're not a meat dude. I know you're.
it's crazy though, is we'll have, Wagyu, we've had it from all over the U.S. and it's really cool to even just taste the different terroir, like from Vermont to Montana to Wyoming to California to Washington. I can taste the difference in just those, just because of the terroir. So I am excited to see some of this
like
red.
wine?
It's just like wine, right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's
you
such
know,
a great comparison, right?
Bordeaux, or is it from Sonoma? And they're
Exactly.
both fantastic, right? But
Yes.
they're completely different.
They're totally different. And I would drink one on Monday and drink the other on Tuesday,
Into that, and I think
Yeah.
it goes to show that you are what you eat.
Yeah.
And when we're eating these animals, they are what they eat. That's why it comes through the flavor profile, and
Yeah.
that's why conscientious people that understand feeding animals like Ken and Angie's Acres are so important. I mean, from legendary standpoint, I would love to be in a position where we said legendary Akaushi produced by. Okay,
Okay.
we provide the high quality genetics that people can build their herds off of, and then
Hmm.
they put their spin on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put peppermint in my feed. Peppermint isn't the thing. You need to go with give them a little chili pepper.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever their spin is, or we've got artesian water and it's it works out better, or whatever their thing is.
That's
We
cool.
can't, we're in Wisconsin and we're in Nebraska, so we've got two regions covered, for
Hmm.
our
Yeah.
end users. But the diversity of what this product can be is as diverse as our country.
Yeah.
The people that produce it. I think it's a fantastic medium,
Yeah.
for people to grow on, experiment with, and produce just a spectacular product.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you want to have those different, legendary produced by, I think that at the end of the day, just like the American Wagyu Association, everyone's trying to just promote this breed, because the more people that eat Wagyu, the better off, everyone's going to be in the industry. The better off the consumers are going to be, because they're going to be eating better meat. And hopefully we can just get some of this Wagyu, whether it's black or it's red, sprinkled into more herds throughout the entire U.S. right now.
Yeah, I think the real big shift here, you've got 3 or 4 giant producers that are producing most of the beef that
Yeah.
American consumers are eating right now.
Yeah.
And their process and their product and their values,
Mm-hmm.
okay, are much different, okay, than the people that we're doing business with,
Mm-hmm.
supporting in the growth of Wagyu, be it
Yeah.
black or red. And I think that as the consumers experience that and understand that, they will fundamentally choose to move their spend and their consumption from that corporate environment to, the more regionalized,
Yeah.
localized farm to fork, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we can create that ecosystem. And you know what? That's how it was not too many years
Mm-hmm.
ago, right?
Yeah, but it's hard, right? When big players get involved and money gets involved,
Yeah.
it's hard to that's one of my worries. I always kind of like to ask that question is, when the big money gets involved, is there going to be a Budweiser of Wagyu? Is there going to be this huge corporation that comes in and takes it over and creates a maybe not as great as a product as like you or Ken or Plum Creek or Vermont Wagyu or any of the guys that we talk to that actually love producing and feeding their communities and feeding straight to the consumer.
I'm going to give you a corollary story. So I was born and raised in, the Bay Area, California,
Mm-hmm.
and lived in the city. And, we got great produce because we were in California, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For
Well, I
sure.
moved to the Central Valley, and my neighbor was Clancy and Dolores, and they had 200 acres, and they grew vegetables and fruit. And the bus stop for my kids happened to be right in front of their fruit stand. Okay. And I started helping Clancy on his farm as he got a little bit older and so forth. So every day the kids would come home with a bag of farm fresh. And it was the best. I was ruined.
Right.
I thought I got good produce because I lived in California.
Yeah.
But when I got into the Central Valley of California and I got stuff that was right off the vine, right out of the ground, right off the tree, I can't eat produce from a freaking grocery store. Give me a Walmart banana. Okay.
Totally different.
It's cardboard.
Yeah.
And people think I'm an elitist prick. Okay, maybe I am. But I honestly believe that once consumers have that experience,
Yes.
they are going to make the decision for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, as people become more and more conscious about food choices and, taking care of their family and participating in an ecosystem that actually works.
Yeah.
And supports everyone as opposed to shareholders.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
It's going to be a different world. And that's a world that I want to create. I want to live.
Yes, and that's the world that when we talk to most of our Wagyu friends and producers out there, that's what they want as well, right? They want to feed that community. They know once people have it, they're coming back, and we see it every day in our butcher shop and in our restaurant. That's why we started this podcast, because we've seen this change. People are like, I'm coming right back for this. Like I can't eat steak anymore. I can't go to nice steakhouses because they don't have what you guys have, and it's a different product. It's a better product. It's product that is raised by people who really care. Not to say that all beef isn't raised by people who care. We know that it is, but it's a different process, and it's a different product. And you're starting with a lot better of a foundation with the Wagyu genetics than with an Angus.
Yep, for sure. I totally believe that.
Yeah. And so, Steve, how can people find you at Legendary Akaushi? You got a website? Do you guys do straight to consumer? How does that work for you?
Yep. So legendarybeef.com.
Legendarybeef.com. Okay.
Legendary Akaushi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you want, but actually we've got websites that link to each other, but legendarybeef.com is really easy to look at, and we might actually have an order form go out. Okay, because of shipping, we're trying to limit to the tri-state area at this point, because we want the product to get there within a day.
Yeah, shipping's tough, man. Whew. I know.
But there again, I went to FedEx, I went to UPS. This is the same corporate thing that we're talking about. We didn't fit their, mold. Okay. But we went to Speedy Delivery. Okay. Which is the local guys that started up. They gave me a tri-state area, said, we'll get you overnight. We're not going to guarantee it, but we're going to get you there. Okay. And a flat rate for a box up to 40 pounds is X. and it was like a third of what FedEx and UPS wanted. And so far, they've never missed.
Wow.
Okay. So again, small regional company that, is a bunch of hustlers trying to,
Yeah.
get out, make something and make it work.
Yeah.
I love that, and, I want to help them build their company because they're helping me build my company.
Yeah.
In our technology company, we've got to say, we're only going to grow our business. Okay. We focus on growing our customers' business first.
Mm-hmm.
And in the genetics side, it's the exact same thing. We're only going to grow our business and grow Akaushi when we help the breeders and the producers, build their business. And for the consumers, we're only going to grow our business by giving them the best experience that they've ever had on their table.
Absolutely, man. Couldn't have said it better myself, man. I mean, people are gonna go crazy, man. I love it. I love it.
I think one of the last things I'd like to say wrapping up is that
Yeah.
because these animals take so long to produce, not take longer, okay, but it takes a long time to grow a cow.
Yeah.
9 months of gestation, and then whether it's 18 months or 24 months or whatever. I mean, that's 3 years or 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Before you get to the table. What a lot of our producers are experiencing now is they go through this process like, well, how am I going to sell the meat? They start selling meat, and all of a sudden, I don't have enough meat. Okay, yeah. I've got customers signing up for the animals that are going to get slaughtered in 3 months. Okay,
yeah.
They're pre-selling, and now we're in a situation where we're focusing on helping them grow their herds. Okay, so they can fill their pipeline and fill that up. That's a really, really, really great problem to have.
Okay? It is, yeah.
I would say for consumers now, if you have an opportunity to try Akaushi, try it, and then get on that list. Okay, and get your supply handled.
Yeah,
somebody that's a reputable producer, and make them your best friend because they are your best friend that you don't know yet.
They will be. So, man, Steve, legendaryakushi.com, man. I mean, thank you so much today for kind of explaining what Akaushi is, and giving us all these tips on how to cook it and why it's a little bit different. And I'm excited to try it, man. I'm excited to try it. So I'm waiting for Ken's shipment here.
It's not there tomorrow. Call me. I got a care package.
Yeah, perfect, man. So, like we say, you might like the black, you might like the red, but you should definitely jump in on this Akaushi train and give it a shot, because the more that I'm talking to people, man, the more I'm like getting my mouth's watering a little bit. I'm like, I want to try this too, because I think there is a little bit different, man. And I want to get in there and experience both and have my choice of Wagyu every single night of the week, because that would be my dream.
Yeah, eating Wagyu is a beautiful thing. Just make sure you're eating Wagyu. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not something that somebody put a label on.
Just not. Yep, exactly. Go through a reputable place, man. Well, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. And we'll wrap it up for the meat dudes, Kent and Steve, Ken. And we'll talk to you soon, man.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.